Watching sports, you either had a moment of growing up with it or forced to be playing it. But I think as a spectator and a player, there's something fun about seeing freak athletes. It doesn't matter if you're a speed demon like Tyreek Hill, defensive menace like Miro Heiskanen, or a straight shooter like Stephen Curry. Even guys like Jokic shows how great players can play. And then there are some blast athletes that show their work in many different ways and special different talents. When you see a player that come out the lab with no curveball, no changeup, just straight fucking gas. Princess 9 is a 1998 anime with 26 episodes that surprisingly came out before the manga. Cool, with the series about a girls playing baseball with the purpose of showing that there's an equal footing between boys and girls. And well, how do you do that? By taking them to the most prestigious tournament in Japan, National High School Baseball Championship, or Keishien. We have our main character, the ace pitcher, Ryo Hayakawa, a daughter of a former baseball star in Japan that was banned from the Nippon Professional Baseball League. The story starts with them knowing about Ryo's story, a daughter of a deceased father, and a mother that works at an Oden bar to keep them afloat. With the night of a baseball team needing help fitting his pitching, Ryo throws Randy Johnson levels of fastballs and wins, with the two drunkens challenged to strike them out, and the drunkards volunteers the umpire. After Ryo strikes out the first man and is working on to the second, a high school baseball star, Hiroki, walks by and offers up to finish the challenge. Although he manages to hit the ball, his bat break, and Ryo gets him out. With being impressed that she has that fastball, Hiroki carries her home out of respect.
Hey, watch your hand!
Even though that she didn't want that to happen, with a well-mannered woman actually giving Ryo a scholarship after her performance. This was going to be all paid and whatnot, so there's nothing to worry about there. All that she asks is that she joins the Kisaragi girls baseball team. So in all ways, that from her performance, she has a golden ticket and whatnot, but she feels like that she doesn't want to go, but she's convinced by her mom because her father was a former baseball player and a pitcher, with the plan to prove points about winning glory and making a statement. To give a series structure, the first 10 episodes is more about giving the construction of this team, about seeing who joins the team and how they earn their stripes on getting on the team. And on the other side of things, it's about the development and what happens at that tournament of all things. And so since this is a sports drama that does deal with romance, I'm going to do it in the simplest of ways, that I'm going to tell you about how each player is recruited and then the deeps of the detail of things, okay? Kotaro was the first one recruited from Yo that was actually part of a boys baseball team before it being outed out as a girl. So you pretty much just kind of get that she was a tomboy, if anything. The one thing that everyone noticed about her was her hitting. So getting a power hitter on this team is actually very useful for them. And after not accepting the scholarship and offer, Yo actually challenges her to, get on the team. So if Yo wins the pitch off, she would be part of the team, and loses that she would back off. And after losing, Kotaro joins the team because of honor. Hikaru and Yuki joins the team because of their softbox experience, so they have depth and defensive pickups. Sari is a former dropout, but joins because of Coach Kaido being a dirty dog, and she actually has experience being an athlete, so they have good players here. They're building something out of this. They bring up Yoko, and let's be real, she's more of a roster filler. Listen, wow, and besides being a wall because of her durability, from judo, she was the black sheep of her program to join because of what's going on, and she can catch Yo's throw. And in her own spotlight episode, she's actually explained that she's actually not a bad member of judo, but she's actually a pretty capable member. She's just a team member, if anything.
You seldom won in individual tournaments, but in team competitions you were unbeatable.
And the final member of this team is Izumi. And for the early parts, that she was more lens as a antagonist to Yo as the way of the romance, but as the most part being just the main rival for Yo. And with it not wanting to be on the baseball team with reasoning because that she is a better tennis player, kind of sets itself as a wager out of anything. And plus, since it's being a drama, because of the medallion having that Yo's father in there and the boiling points of the wager they face, the team pretty much is set in stone to have this as the culmination of the first couple episodes. With things being more of a slow build up towards this rivalry, they actually did one part where Izumi did hit a home run, but that was with a tennis ball. And so the wager was that she would have to get on base with a normal baseball. And so when that happens, that she actually gets a run on base. But she does go through her own respective arc, and I'll get to it when we get there. And of course, you're having your management side of things with Nene being the team manager and also the cheerleader of this team. And then you have Coach Kaido, which was a former catcher of Yo's father. With the episode structure being more slowly paced, for you to wait for the moments, the show is a drama, of course, like I said before. And like the game of baseball, it just feels better when you've experienced those moments when it happens. As much I want to see home runs and going up to bats, we got to see the day-to-day of this team. And to give examples at the start, we'll talk about Family Feud with, alright, to give you this, there's every wrinkles and forms of love, from platonical and hardworking and animosity. For one of the both of two athletes and great potential, but the main issue has to be the feeling of nepotism. And to be real with you, Izumi doesn't have that feeling of nepotism because she had to work her way there, as she feels that resentment with Yo because she's gotten the golden ticket and gotten all this special treatment. And as the story goes out and we see the story of things, we actually find out that Izumi's mother knew of Yo's father, and it pretty much goes into a way of Izumi getting more angry with Yo because of that fact alone. So it honestly feels like for Izumi that Yo is pretty much like a bastard child of the family. And this happens with the tennis ball to the baseball incident, and it happens to show how determined that Izumi really is. And so with Hiroki, her closest friend and potential relationship, things get in the way where she's pretty much just not swinging the ball correctly. And so Hiroki helps her with formation. But once that battle happens and all those things occur, things kind of settle down with it because she just didn't know it. I understand where you're coming from, Izumi. I don't understand a lot of things, and I don't get bored about a lot of things. The anime being a sports anime, the question is, does it adapt the sport to its realist form, or does it use its own fair plot of anime to make things more interesting? Well, personally, from what I'm watching, I say yes and no. With things that it does do realistically, like baseball, it actually does put a good way to make it more realistic on how things do happen. But they also put their own twist into it with the thing called the lightning ball.
Finish this game just like you did!
And well, the lightning ball is a technique that Yo uses as a way to kind of get that glamour into anime, in which it's just a very fast ball. In a lot of ways, it's more of a, in which fastballs, getting back to the things in baseball in the other ways, it actually shows how players can actually feel during training and playing multiple games of baseball, where there's highs and lows in a lot of ways, and especially with the feeling of self-confidence. And we definitely see this in this part of the anime with, after the win of the little play-in with a boys team, that there's actually a scandal picked up by the media about Yo's father that was part of his professional years. And we find out with Yo that he was banned because of allegedly taking money to throw games. Now, if you know anything about baseball, there is a scandal that did happen around the time in the 80s with player named Pete Rose. Player and manager for the Cincinnati Reds, that was one of his greats of the generation, was banned because of his betting habits for the Cincinnati organization, where he actually stated that he didn't gamble against his team, he only gambled for his team. And which, I'll be real with you, that this is more of a questionable connotation with a lot of things in sports. It questions the legitimacy of sports in general. And this always gives the question of rigging. And I think especially if you've watched sports for the past couple of years and seeing states legalize gambling, that we've seen more and more of the questioning of legitimacy in the sport, where especially like in football, where people will always blame the refs, and especially in the playoffs, and sometimes you just question things, and you know, just when money is involved more and more, it gets things to be more fishy in a lot of ways. Wait a minute, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Yo finding out about this and the scandal. So this happens, and then Yo pretty much is kind of contemplating on quitting the team because of all these things that are happening and the media spin. And this happens with all the things that could have happened, and the idea is the backlash on the name alone, with the spot her father had an entanglement that would impact the Toshian and Miriam. And so comes a question of, do you really want this black cloud hanging over the team throughout the whole duration, or hell, even having a chance to get in there because of this situation? And so days before the tournament, that she gets her mind off of things and goes on a little road experience, and she sees kids playing and imitating her lightning ball, and finds out that her father used to go around this area and actually play with the orphans. And so she figures out that for the night that she's going to, just hang out with these kids and learn about past of her father, and actually learn that her father wasn't a bad person as all. But the one thing that happens during the night, that 2 orphans actually get themselves trapped, and she actually saves them, but getting in critical condition. As everyone goes to the hospital, and I mean everyone from her teammates, that it's a heartfelt statement to see what happens about the rivalry with her and Izumi, as Izumi kind of blathers out about how their rivalry kind of kept them going, and as much that she didn't want to be part of the team, she kind of grew to actually like being a part of this team. And as she's fighting for her life, she actually gets a vision of things.
Power hitter on your team? Do you need a guy that can hit a fastball, curveball, changeup? How about a sinker? Do you need a guy that can hit anything?
You can build your team with Alex Rodriguez and other pros before they were actually pros. Backyard Baseball for the PlayStation 2. Big league action, backyard fun. Rated E for everyone.
Are you ready to play?
So Yo gets a vision about her father and kind of contemplating on the sport, where it kind of becomes a more of a thing of acceptance of a lot of ways, where as much she wants to continue being on the team, that she feels like the scandal is going to be part of it, but she learns pretty much that it's better to continue on than not do it at all. And also talking about how her lightning ball can improve, but it happens in time. Next, after the scare area and the tournament beginning, because of the board, but the public opinion has switched because of what Ryo done and what they learn about her father doing with those orphanage, in which Kondo pretty much convinces her father that is on the board to let them play, as of anything that could happen. But a lot of things change because of that in the first place, because to me this is not just like lazy reasoning, but it's a justified reasoning, because she did get her identity out there. But let's just be real with this, it's not much of a cop-out, but it's an easier way to just have this happen than any other way. But as things happen, we pretty much get some things rounding up into another way. See, as the road to the big show happens, Izumi and Hiroki's relationship gets shown more and more, and we see what happens with Yo with the relationship. And Hiroki sees Izumi as a sister in a lot of ways, because, well, they've been best friends since childhood, but yet Izumi feels like that they could be a couple in a lot of ways. And as of Hiroki's birthday, they both give them a gift, and Yo given a letter and a handkerchief, it gets miscomprehended in a lot of ways. And later the two discuss about their feelings, and what happens with them is explaining is because of the trauma of what happened. Hiroki felt angry because of what nearly happened to Yo, but they pretty much put everything water under the bus because of tournament, and pretty much it feels like that things are going in their way with things coming up, and to wishing each other luck. And well, to say things haven't changed, it hasn't. It becomes a love triangle with the two having their most cattiness and doubting in each other's will, and things happen with a big confrontation of things because of Yuki's doll and her getting into shot. And well, as that happens, we do learn about the other things that do happen with these two, as they kind of show off the things that Hiroki has given them and whatnot. And so as Yo tries to find Yuki's doll and a rainstorm comes by, things happen to be that Hiroki was actually going to see Izumi of things because of a phone call that happened that night before. And pretty much their conversation is just Izumi just getting butterflies in the stomach. But things happen to be is that Yo is conflicted in a lot of ways, because she feels like she's kind of being played by Hiroki, but yet Hiroki isn't trying to play her. He's actually trying to be serious with all things. But yet Yo kind of plays with a shotgun and only knows how to spread in a lot of ways. And so the relationship gets rocky because of this, as Yo kind of just says that he's actually interested in someone else, and becomes a question of what's going on between all three of things. It honestly feels like that there's an invisible thread between Izumi and Hiroki, nit, hug, but we figure out why Yuki's acting this way, and it's honestly traumatic. And well, it happened in a game of softball where Yuki was doing very well. She hit a home run, but yet her teammates felt like that she was taking all the star power from all of them, and they decided to rip her jersey and pretty much just comment how she's not a good captain because she doesn't follow the line. She grabs attention from the other members of the team, pretty much from the stands. And it happens to be in the point where her parents don't believe her of what happened. And so, if anything, she decides to game in herself. Now, with the doll, it was pretty much her best friend. It never left her side, and it more or less became a thing that kind of kept her going. But with this happening, she kind of realizes that she kind of never really needed the doll, but she needed the feeling of being with friends out of anything. And so, as a goodbye and a cry on my shoulder, the doll leaves her to say that she can grow as a person and to know that her teammates got her back. Okay, who's cutting onions in my room? I'm serious. And well, as the big day of the tournament comes by, we actually find who they're facing. And wow, this is going to be a difficult opponent. And well, will they make history and find glory, or will there be a hypno and history? With the first game pretty much being a duel of pitches, and it being more of a game of survival for the girls, and they survive, these giant men, and just pretty much just taking them up as what they are. And things go in a steady pace until Izumi hits the ball like a tennis racket and actually brings herself home with a squeeze and winning their first game. As the tournament goes on, we actually see things going to be better and better. As the first game for Yo was more of a fluke because of Hiroki in the stands and, emotional feelings. I felt that things are set aside because as out of anything that does happen, these two teams will face off in the semifinals, out of all places. But as there's a rain delay, and you know what goes well with rain? Heat. And well, with everything that has happened so far between the two, Hiroki decides to call Tofu and pretty much get things flattened out and, talk about each other and finally get the things up to rest of things that are. What are they? And is things going to be the same? As if anything happens, they decide to meet at the park, and there's Izumi in the crossfire. Son of a... And this leads into Hiroki and Izumi talking of things, and practically just everything goes in the way you think it would go in a drama. Talk about their feelings. Hiroki talks about how they don't see each other being a thing, and as Yo is waiting and finally heads home, Izumi asks for a kiss. Not a kiss of love, but a kiss to say goodbye. And you know who looks at it? It is Yo. And so things are getting worse and worse between the two in this relationship. And honestly just aggravated me because I was finally going to be happy for once to see this go down and then see what happens next in the matchup. But no, this had to happen. They didn't give me a wrinkle that I was ready for. This is a permanently stained wrinkle. I hate it here. Now, this match is their personal final because it's their sister's goal, but it's just heartbroken. This is practically everything. You know what? I just don't care. I just want to see what happens. I hope Hiroki does not take any hits of anything. I want them to go off. Okay, now to step into Koshien with being rattled because of what happened. Yo just decides to intentionally rock Hiroki, and this leads into the game going to 4-0. But with Izumi trying to talk to Yo about the situation, she decides to avoid the drama because of all the things that's going down, because she thinks that they're finally a thing. Jesus fucking Christ. But with things happening, they pull pretty much in the 9th. It looks like things are going to be bare and end, and things happen to go this way as they loaded up to keep things alive. And the first play that happens in the 9th inning becomes an out of the park run, and then Izumi comes up and gets a hit into an end park homer. Now, nothing but bigger on these girls, with Izumi getting there, give the new life into extra innings. And finally, they put water under the bridge and set these two apart, saying that it was just a farewell kiss. But now to say things are going to go better, as the first at bat, Hiroki sets Chuli face off to be an exhilarating one as the conclusion of their love with a lightning ball, and with 2 strikes and 3 balls, Hiroki hits one at the park at the last minute, leaving the dream as just a dream. Nothing but good things with the journey. The Koshien maybe being over, but the next 2 years will be leaving them another chance. And so they do the number one thing that they do is get you to really feel riled up for them to win, and just to slap you down and just say, nah, they lose this one. Just wow. So look at this was something that's catch my eye when I was looking for things to watch, and I was surprised how great this anime was, with drama, wrinkling, and making these obstacles seem deeper. With the team learning about themselves and personalities on them, I absolutely love this. And the mix with their turmoil and the chemistry and the team making everyone on their toes. Personally, as a baseball fan and someone that just likes sports anime, I think they found a special place with this. And especially with the ending speech with them finally getting their love for one another and saying it out loud. It honestly felt like it was a conclusion that you'd be happy with, but it would have been a better conclusion to see them go to the championship. But hey, it's like in a lot of sports. A lot of teams have their own windows, and they're sure to be open for another 2 years. Hey everyone, I hope that you enjoyed this video for what it was. This is all recorded back in December, but I think everything should be how I have everything that's supposed to be starting out for 2024. This should come out right around like when spring training starts in baseball. So, if you're a baseball fan, you accidentally found this video, well, this one was for you guys. But I just want to say thank you for watching and doing all those things. I appreciate it if you give me a like, give me a subscribe or comment. Everything helps in a lot of ways. If you want to check out my Jesus Christ, I'm having a brain fart. If you want to check out my socials, it's in the link tree below. And if you ever have a suggestion, always leave it down there as well. I hope that you're having a good night. If you're watching this at night, if you're watching in the morning, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye. Oh, by the way, does anybody want to know why they're wearing shorts like this? I understand that the White Sox wore something like this before, but oh my god, I would think that they have some battered knees after these games.